In America, wealth opens doors, but belief opens vaults. On the top floor of a Manhattan skyscraper, the city glows like a promise. Glass walls stretch from floor to ceiling. Champagne sparkles under crystal lights. Laughter floats through the air, light and confident. The sound of people who assume tomorrow will be even better than today. Cameras flash, not because anyone asked them to, but because this is what success looks like. This is what people photograph. This is what people trust. In the center of it all stands a young woman. Calm, effortless, dressed like she belongs here. She doesn't explain herself. She doesn't have to. Everything around her speaks for her. The view, the clothes, the way bankers lean closer when she talks, the way investors nod before she finishes her sentences. This is how power moves in America. Quietly, smoothly, without proof. Then the sound disappears. The laughter fades. The music cuts out. The lights go cold. The same penthouse now sits empty. No guests, no champagne, no cameras. Just silence hanging in the air, heavy and uncomfortable. Unpaid bills slide across marble floors. Hotel invoices. Credit card statements. Notices stamped overdue, each one landing softly, but together sounding like a warning no one wanted to hear. The city is still there, glowing outside the windows, but the illusion is gone. She didn't steal homes. She didn't break into vaults. She didn't hold anyone at gunpoint. She stole something far more valuable than money. She stole trust. Because somewhere between the champagne and the skyline, between the confidence and the clothes, banks stopped asking questions. Lawyers stopped verifying documents. Executives stopped checking numbers. They believed. And belief, once it takes hold, can move millions. So here is the question that changes everything. How does someone with no money, no assets, no proven past, convince the most powerful financial institutions in America that she's worth millions? Because the answer isn't about fraud. It's about us. She calls herself Anna Delvey, not Anna Sorokin. Not yet. Names matter in finance. And this one sounds expensive. She says she's a German heiress, old money, European wealth. The kind that doesn't need to explain itself. The kind that moves quietly, behind closed doors. Through private bankers and whispered introductions, she doesn't show photos of her childhood. She doesn't talk about her parents. There are no stories about where she grew up. No old friends dropping names. No past to fact check. Just confidence. She speaks as if money has always followed her. As if numbers are beneath her. As if delays are inconveniences, not problems. When bankers ask questions, she answers slowly, calmly, never defensive, never rushed. People mistake this for sophistication. In high finance, confidence often replaces verification. She wears the right clothes, stays in the right hotels, eats in places where no one asks for deposits because everyone assumes someone else already did. Her accent helps. Her posture helps. The way she dismisses small talk helps. She doesn't try to impress. She expects to be accepted. And something strange begins to happen. Doors open before she knocks. Bankers don't ask for documents right away. They don't press too hard. They don't want to appear small. They don't want to look like the only person in the room who doesn't understand how real wealth works. No one wants to be the first to say, "Can you prove it?" Because in rooms like these, doubt feels rude. So instead of verifying, they assume. Instead of checking, they defer. Instead of questioning, they nod. She talks about foundations, about art, about building something cultural, something that feels bigger than money. She makes people feel like they're part of an idea, not a transaction. And ideas are intoxicating. Behind the scenes, files remain thin, background checks stall, paperwork drags, but no one pushes, because nobody checked, and nobody wanted to offend. And that silence, that politeness, that shared decision to not ask the uncomfortable question, becomes the most valuable currency she ever holds. Because once belief is established, facts struggle to catch up, and Anna knows it. She doesn't pitch apartments. She doesn't pitch buildings. She pitches a feeling, an exclusive private club, a space for the elite, a place where art, power, money, and influence collide behind locked doors. Not for everyone, only for the right people. She calls it a cultural institution, a members-only world where billionaires don't just spend money, they belong. And suddenly, the room changes. Real estate developers stop thinking about square footage and start imagining legacy. Lawyers stop scanning for risk and start picturing their names attached to something prestigious. Investors lean forward, not because the numbers make sense, but because the story does. She talks about Manhattan like she owns it, about neighborhoods as if they're chess pieces, about future members as if they're already waiting for her call. She doesn't ask for approval. She assumes alignment, and that assumption is powerful. She wears ambition like it's tailored. Every word sounds rehearsed, but never forced. She speaks of millions the way other people talk about weekends. She isn't selling property. She's selling proximity to power, the chance to be close to something important, to be inside the room instead of outside the glass, to belong to a future that feels inevitable once she describes it. And here's the part no one admits out loud. People don't invest because they understand. They invest because they don't want to miss out. Because saying no feels like admitting you don't get it. So checks are discussed before documents. Introductions are made before verifications. Promises move faster than proof. And somewhere in the middle of all that confidence, one quiet question hangs in the air. Unanswered. Would you invest in someone who looks rich, but shows no proof? The bank said yes, not eventually, not cautiously, yes. Millions of dollars, wired, approved, waiting. No collateral, no verified assets, no bank statements showing a balance she didn't have. No reserves, nothing but her presence, her story, her carefully constructed image. And somehow, that was enough. The system didn't fail. It did exactly what it was designed to do: trust. Appearances. She walked into boardrooms and offices like she belonged. She handed out ideas, visions, and a kind of quiet authority. And the banks handed her money. Credit cards reached their limits. Hotel bills piled up like in red letters. Invoices set and paid on polished desks. Yet her image remained flawless. The penthouses gleamed. The champagne still sparkled. People still smiled and nodded when she spoke. No one asked the hard questions. No one paused to check the math. No one thought to look behind the curtain. And here's the unseen tension. The money flowed in, fast and easy, but cash never stayed. It moved. It disappeared. It was never hers to keep. Every transfer, every wire, every approval built the illusion. Every handshake, every nod, every photograph cemented it. She wasn't spending money recklessly. She was managing a performance, a play where the audience didn't know the stage was empty beneath the lights. And yet, everyone believed. Behind the glamour, cracks begin to show. Cards get declined at the most expensive hotels. Wire transfers that were supposed to arrive never do. Excuses pile up, polite and plausible, masking the truth. Luxury has a sound: the clink of glasses, the soft shuffle of expensive shoes on marble, laughter echoing through high-ceilinged halls. And poverty has a sound to: the quiet buzz of machines, the ding of overdue notices, the silence after a phone call that should have brought money. She doesn't panic. She doesn't run. She doesn't steal for the sake of stealing. She just keeps walking the line between image and reality, because what she wants isn't cash, it's acceptance. She wants to belong to the world she's pretending to inhabit. To be seen, to be trusted, to be part of the club that never asks the uncomfortable questions. Every interaction is a performance. Every signature a step deeper into a life that doesn't exist. And the most terrifying part: the people around her don't see the danger, yet they see the ambition. They see confidence. They see someone who looks the part. And here's the question that lingers in the air, sharp and impossible to ignore: is pretending to be rich a crime? Or is it ambition taken too far? Because in her world, the two are dangerously close. The calls start coming in first thing in the morning. Hotels demand payment. Reservations she promised are suddenly due. Banks open audits without warning. Lawyers shuffle papers frantically, their calm professional masks slipping as they realize the scale of what's unfolding. Emails go unanswered, transfers bounce, promises vanish into digital limbo. Every connection she relied on begins to unravel. And the walls she built with charm and confidence start to feel paper thin. The illusion shatters. In slow motion, the penthouse, the parties. The headlines, they mean nothing when the money doesn't exist. Once belief dies, money follows. And yet, Anna doesn't panic. Not outwardly. Not like anyone expects. She tilts her head, confused, scanning the room as if reality betrayed her personally. Every look around her is a question. Why isn't it working? Why aren't they believing anymore? Her world, built on appearances, suddenly feels fragile. The power she wielded, the respect she commanded, the doors that opened effortlessly all closing quietly, imperceptibly, leaving her in the echo of her own ambition. She isn't running. She isn't scheming. She's trying to understand how a world that once accepted her without proof suddenly refuses to see her at all. And in that silence, the truth hits harder than any headline could. Even the brightest illusion can collapse overnight. She never wanted the money. Not really. What she wanted was something far harder to earn, far harder to buy: access, respect, acceptance. The feeling of belonging to a world that had always seemed just out of reach. Every lavish party, every signed check, every whispered introduction, none of it was about wealth. It was about being recognized, being included, being part of the circle that mattered. She wasn't trying to be rich, she was trying to be seen. And in the end, that desire became her undoing. Because the law doesn't measure intent and ambition or longing. It measures what's on paper, what's signed, what's documented. America didn't punish her for stealing money. It punished her for faking identity, for pretending to be something she wasn't. And there's a lesson in that. Quiet but sharp, the world may reward appearances, but it always catches up with the truth. She walked into the room a vision of success, and she left a cautionary tale. And in that story, everyone watching can see themselves, because who hasn't tried, at some point, to be seen as more than they really are? Image attracts money, but truth collects interest. She built a dream without a foundation. Every mansion, every luxury reservation, every promise she made rested on belief alone, not reality. And dreams built on illusions collapse the hardest, leaving nothing but echoes of what could have been. The world around her moves on. Investors shrug, banks recover, hotels collect their bills, and she is left with a lesson written in the harshest currency experience. Karma has a quiet way of teaching. It doesn't need noise or spectacle. It simply unfolds, leaving the guilty to face the weight of their choices. And now, we leave you with a question that lingers. Do you think society creates scams like this, or exposes them? Because sometimes, the line between ambition and deception is thinner than we imagine. If this story made you question success, wealth, or trust, then you belong here. Subscribe for true stories that expose money, power, and illusion. Like the video if image has ever fooled you. Share it, because someone you know might need this lesson.